Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Randi Thompson, sitting in for the vacationing Sam Shad. Today I'll be talking with Roxanne Decarlo from the Empowerment Center, and since I taped this before Sam went on vacation, Sam will be my pundit. Watch next on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And we're back on Nevada Newsmakers, and I'm pleased to have Roxanne Decarlo, who's Executive Director of the Empowerment Center, joining me today. Welcome.
Thank
Your first
you.
time on Newsmakers, right?
Yes.
Well, great. Well, first, give me a little history and tell me a little bit about what is the Empowerment Center?
So the Empowerment Center is a treatment center for women that are recovering from a substance use disorder. So we started out in 2005 with 2 little houses out in Sparks, Nevada, and a few years later purchased the old Ranch Motel on South Virginia Street and began a remodel, a significant remodel for that property. At that point, we were co-ed, so about 3 years ago we moved to an all-women's center. And there's a lot that happens there to help people rebuild their lives. So they come in, they stay for 4 months, they live on site, they receive drug and alcohol counseling, lots of group and individual sessions, and workforce development. And so the entire time that they're there, they're receiving skills, workforce skills, lots of soft skills, interviewing, how to present yourself, those sort of trainings, and then we assist them with job placement out into the community, and then really walk them all the way through transitioning back out into the community in a very self-sustaining way.
So when they come to you, are they supposed to be recovered from drug abuse or alcoholism? I mean, do they have to be they have to go through step 1 first to come to you guys?
So they do need to be able to test clean.
Okay.
And so they need to have about 30 days clean and sober before they land at the Empowerment Center. So we receive our clients from about 4 different sources. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they come to us from prison. We work very closely with pre-release over there. Sometimes they are court ordered, so we work with all the specialty courts. Mm-hmm. And a 30-day treatment center is another nice transition where we can help them continue in their treatment and then transition back out. And then walk-ins, which is our smallest one. It's hard to find that clean and sober lifestyle out on your own.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you're not alone in this community. There's several organizations like this doing this, but
there's a handful of organizations.
Okay, you're right. Not enough, I'm sure, that sadly, yeah.
So we are one of 6 providers that have housing, so transitional housing, and we are one of 5 providers giving services or offering services to women.
Okay. And how do you work with the rest of the community? Like there's Join Together Nevada, there's Step 2, there's a lot of organizations. I know Pat Cashell and the volunteers group, the homeless shelter. How do you guys all interact?
So honestly, and there's lots of referrals and talking to people about different services. Often we find clients that might be better suited for another organization for one reason or another. Step 2 would be a good one to kind of talk about because, and I say that because we don't house children, but they do. And so having a woman that maybe wants to be reunited or is pregnant and nearing that delivery, that might be a good situation to where they're referred over to another organization. And we work with all of the other centers in a very similar way.
Yeah.
If we don't have a spot and we need to place somebody or they're just better suited for another program.
No, that's great to hear. There's actually cooperation among the social services. There's not a lot, I mean, people think of competition and maybe you compete for dollars, but you're not competing for a clientele that is probably growing quite a bit. I mean, with the drug epidemic that we've got going on in our state.
No, you are absolutely right. And so there is no shortage of clients, not here in Northern Nevada.
So how many can you facilitate in one
during
a month, let's say?
We house 36 at a time.
Wow.
And so, and we're getting new clients and people are graduating all of the time. Over the course of a year, it does depend a little bit, but on average, we serve about 165 a year.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about where they come from and what's the success rate?
Okay.
Because I mean, imagine if you're coming from prison versus drug rehabilitation, you've got a different success rate.
And success rates do vary among the different populations. Our highest success rate is actually women that come out of prison.
Oh, that's great.
I think they just understand the consequences of their behavior and they are less likely to push that boundary. And so they really have hit bottom and are trying to do everything they can to be successful in this.
Okay. And what about the drug rehabilitation?
So the drug rehabilitation, we have about an 84% success rate with clients leaving the property clean and sober without any use. And so we're very, very proud of that.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm glad you're here, and yet I'm sad you're here. I mean, it's one of those things we know we need that resource in our community.
We do.
Well, we're going to take a break and be right back, and we'll continue this conversation.
Thank you.
Tamarack Junction is South Reno's hotspot with over 450 of the latest slots and video games. Sully's Sports Bar, the Dining Car Restaurant, William Hill Sportsbook, and the Tamarack Steakhouse and Lounge. We're just north of the Summit Mall in South Virginia.
Yeah.
Because of UMC, there's a wide open road ahead of me.
Because of UMC, she can grow up with her twin sister.
Because of UMC, I'm here to help you.
UMC, the highest level of care in Nevada.
Hi, I'm Eric Robnett, owner of Home Energy Experts. Has this ever happened to you?
Honey, did you remember to turn down the thermostat?
Forgetting to set the temperature? Not fun. We can help. Our new smart thermostat keeps the temperature set for your comfort all by itself.
I'm feeling hot now.
To increase your comfort, go to homeenergyexperts.com for details. That's homeenergyexperts.com.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
The Tamarack Junction Steakhouse is known for signature steaks, handcrafted cocktails, and world-class wines. Join us Thursdays and Friday nights from 4:30 to 6:30 in the Steakhouse Lounge for live music, gourmet plates, and well-priced wines, just north of the Summit Mall on South Virginia.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And we're back on Nevada Newsmakers, and I'm joined with Roxanne Decarlo from the Empowerment Center. So you have kicked off a capital campaign. Why don't you tell us about that?
So we're really excited to be working on our next project. So our next project is an apartment complex for women and families that have already successfully completed a treatment center stay and are ready for that second step of living independently with their family. And so it'll be the first of its kind here in Reno, supportive living for women and families that suffer from a substance use disorder. So we're really excited to be launching our capital campaign in that. We have a $1.8 million matching grant. We are currently looking for land in our community to be able to start that building project.
Okay, and I'm going to make sure that we provide some information in case anybody's interested in learning more about that.
Thank you.
But you also are facing now, along with the capital campaign, you're also facing a different challenge. And why don't you explain what's happening at the Reno City Council and what's happening in your neighborhood?
It is a challenge indeed. So a marijuana dispensary is looking to move directly next door to the Empowerment Center.
And by next door, I've actually walked the property. It's literally 15 feet away.
15
from
feet
your
away,
boundary.
yeah. Our buildings could practically touch. So it's really close, and it's a little too close to home for us and for the clients that we serve.
So you have a very vulnerable population that's going to be walking right by a dispensary. And what's the difference between that and walking by a liquor store?
Well, honestly, it's a gateway drug.
Yeah.
And so really it's just bringing back those early memories of where they kind of started. In all honesty, it's pretty similar to walking past a liquor store.
And yet you don't have any liquor stores in your immediate area. That's why you chose this location to begin with.
Correct.
And I know the city has been cautious about putting anything near rehabilitation centers. But for some reason, the legislation seems to have been negligent on mentioning you can't have a dispensary within so many feet. Like right now, you can't build it next to a church, a preschool,
or a school,
and a community center.
And a community center.
But you're not considered a community center according to the city council?
According to the city council, we are not considered a community center, even though we're housing women and making a difference in our community, and their children are coming to visit them on a regular basis as well. And so we although don't house children overnight, we do have visits on a regular basis from lots of children.
Yeah, so I can understand your concern that having a dispensary right next door to you, well, again, you've been there for 11 years, so it's not like you're some unknown entity. And the city council is going to be discussing this coming up soon, hopefully.
Yeah, they're on the agenda for September 11th.
Okay.
And
it's
so
already been punted once, so good to get punted again. Because obviously I think the city council, you've been talking to city council members.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
The majority of them. We are still waiting to meet with one, but for the most part, we've met with every other city council member to just express our desire for them to take control of the situation and deny that license.
Yeah. And have you talked to some legislators yet? Because I imagine legislators are going to say, wait a minute, we thought community centers meant rehabilitation centers, but...
Which could very well be the case, and so we've not heard a ruling back on that one, but I have asked that our city council put an ordinance in place that protects treatment centers from here on out, and so it seemed within their control to be able to do that, and since they're the ones making the decisions on the license, they can also make the decision to create a protective barrier so that this doesn't happen going forward.
So is this the first time you've heard of a dispensary moving next to a rehabilitation center?
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
Boy. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sure it probably could easily come up in Las Vegas as well.
I would imagine.
Yeah, and I know Step 2 has some homes around Reno. I mean, like you said, there's other facilities around town.
There are, and so I've actually asked them to come and join me on September 11th and stand strong for recovery in our community, which is, as we've already said, very much needed in our area.
I mean, I sure couldn't imagine them opening a dispensary next to the homeless shelter. You know, when you think of a vulnerable population who is, I mean, liquor stores are enough of a temptation, but now have a dispensary there is really a challenge.
It is. And our women, especially when they're first starting that job search and they're just starting to get out into the community, I hear it on a regular basis that the Empowerment Center is really that safety zone. It's where they know that they need to get back to, and where they're going to be safe and secure. Yeah. And so to have that to be the very last thing that they cross before they make it into their safety zone, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad. You know, the reality is our clients endure many obstacles on their path to their self-sustaining future. And so to think that they would just have one more barrier, one more obstacle that they need to pass. It just makes me sad.
And literally pass. I mean, you go from empowerment to the bus station and you're passing right by in front of a dispensary. Mm-hmm. So, well, I hope that the City Council hears you, and we'll be looking forward to seeing this. And I hope you don't have to take one for the team, but it's nice to know the team is there to be looking out for you. So we will be, I'm sure we'll have you back on to hear more about this.
Thank you.
Thank you,
love
Roxanne.
that.
Thank you. We'll be back right after this.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Are you a homeowner who's interested in remodeling or building a home? At Design Outdoor, we can show you how adding natural or manufactured masonry stone can add beauty and value to your home. And we refer only the best contractors. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take an Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And we're back on Nevada Newsmakers, and I have my Power Pundit panel today, which is all of one person, Sam Shad. Sam never gets to be a pundit, so I thought it might be kind of fun to put you in the hot seat this time.
Okay, and the seat is getting warmer by the second.
Well, good. So you get to answer some questions today.
All right.
Okay. So I just did this interview with Roxanne Decarlo from the Empowerment Center. What do you think about that situation, the dilemma, or the challenge, I guess she calls it?
It's multi-level. I mean, obviously, for the people who are, dealing with this problem, it's an issue for them to be anywhere close to any center that is selling marijuana.
Or alcohol or anything. I mean, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And although I do disagree with the fact that it's a gateway drug, but that's a whole different topic, and we get into that some other time. But I mean, the question comes down to, what distance are you going to have it? It is now a legal product in the state of Nevada, just like alcohol is. People should be entitled to sell it wherever they would like to sell it, as it's legal, and people should be able to buy it wherever they want to buy it, where it's legal. The legislature kind of went through a whole bunch of hoops. Some people blame the gaming industry for wanting marijuana to be as far away from their establishments as possible, until such time as the federal government legalizes marijuana, in which case the finest marijuana lounges are going to be inside hotel casinos.
Right. I mean, they deliver it to the hotel rooms nowadays, so
that's what I understand, even
yes.
though that is not legal as far as consumption goes.
Right.
But I think the consumption lounge is going to be right next door to the $100 buffet.
And full of Doritos.
whatever works.
It is. The state is going through, as is every state, is going through some real learning curves on this. So it'll be interesting to see how the city council reacts.
You know what I find the most interesting about this whole marijuana deal, having watched it, over the last, 40, 50 years, is seeing that the world has not gone to rack and ruin because marijuana was legalized. The police are dealing with it, I think, in a great way. They're dealing with it in the sense of, and we had this from Mac Venzen, who's second in command of RPD, saying the law changed. We've enforced the law, and so now the law says, this is not something we should be enforcing. We leave it alone. So they're not going hog wild in either Nevada, Utah, Colorado, of sitting outside of bars or nightclubs waiting for people to come out who smoked a joint to jump on them for DUIs or whatever. They're conducting their business as police business in a normal way, and we're not seeing numbers going through the roof. I mean, there are some exaggerations from some organizations that are anti-pot, but for the most part, the pot business is doing very well, and the numbers are coming in well for the state as far as taxation goes. I think it's only a question of time before the federal government realizes that they're losing out on revenue and will finally legalize it.
Well, the black market is still stronger than the legal market.
Right.
It's new there, but it's still, that's the challenge, is the black market's still strong.
Yeah, but you know what? It was interesting. I was at leading up to the legalization in Nevada, I was at a thing at Truckee Meadows Community College, and one guy stood up and said, well, I guess I could go out and buy hooch, but I actually go to the liquor store to buy my liquor. He said, I'm not going to go and buy on the black market when I can go to a store and actually buy a product that's legal and clean. And so I think that over time, that black market will probably always exist, but I think it's likely to get smaller and smaller, especially as that market becomes more competitive and people need to lower their prices to make it make more sense. But have you been to Planet 13 in Las Vegas?
No.
Bob Grossbeck's place? I mean, it's a whole entertainment center. It's not just about marijuana. It's about an entertainment experience. And so I think that, you're seeing this business develop in ways that we never dreamed.
Well, I think the challenge, at least for the business sector, is 30% of our workforce tested positive in 2018 for pot. The challenge is what's impairment. And we still have not got the test there to show what's impairment, just like we do with alcohol. You can tell when you're drunk. You can't always tell if you smoked a joint yesterday, you're fine today. So that's the next challenge.
Okay, so the reality, and I've heard this from many people over the years, I'm rolling my eyes for people on the radio. After about 3-4 hours, nobody's stoned.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're talking about somebody that smoked a joint on Friday and it goes to work on Monday, the idea, yes, they have substances in their system, but they are not under the influence in any way, shape, or form. So I think that that's something that we need to deal with immediately and make that a statement. But in terms of, there are some people that have arthritic problems that smoke marijuana to lessen the effects. If they're taking a small enough dosage, I've known plenty of people who were going to work and dealing with things. But I don't want a brain surgeon who smoked dope that morning or the night before necessarily working on me just because they may be a little more tired than they were before. Although I've been to plenty of fancy dinners on a Sunday night where there were all kinds of doctors and surgeons drinking lots of alcohol.
Right.
So, I think that society will find a balance. But what's interesting to me, and you made the point here, is did we realize how many people were still smoking pot? I mean, my circle was very small. I was not aware that as many people were still smoking pot as they are.
Yeah. I know this is Pat Hickey's biggest concern, is that this would lead to a decline in our morality and people just sitting on their couch. Yeah, exactly. All right, so different topic. What's the most interesting interview you've done in the recent history, past maybe 2 years?
In the past 2 years?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. That's an interesting question. The last 2 years. I don't really have a good answer for that. There's been a lot of great interviews. I think the one I was most pleased with during the legislative session, for example, was Nicole Cannizzaro, the majority leader, willing to come onto the program and talk about the session during the session. I was disappointed that so many legislative folks would not come onto the program. And that's been a trend over the last couple of sessions. And it concerns me that governors are doing the most they can do to avoid doing interviews, not just on Newsmakers, but with anybody. I don't care where people do interviews. I just want our government officials to do interviews. And it bothers me when they're hiding out and not doing interviews. And so, like I say, I don't care if it's on Newsmakers or not. I'd love them to be here, but go somewhere, sit down with somebody for 15, 20 minutes to have an intelligent discussion about what's going on in our state, and especially during a legislative session.
So what is the mission of Newsmakers?
The mission of Newsmakers, wow, that's a great question. And people always say that's a great question when they don't have an answer right away.
It's a good verbal filler. It gives you time to think.
You know what? I think what it's become is a place in our society that has become so polarized. It's a place where people from the right or left can come onto the program, or anything in between, and talk about their issues and be treated respectfully and in a fair manner. I'm not going to put up with any bull. I'm not going to put up with somebody lying. But as far as your opinion, you're entitled to it, and you're welcome to share it on this program in a respectful fashion. And I think that is missing from so many places, that I'm pleased that we have at least one place. But you know what? We're the only statewide show that deals in issues the way we deal with them here. And Steve Sebelius has another show in Las Vegas that only airs on Sundays. We need more public policy programs in the state so people can understand what's actually happening in their government.
Well, thank you for doing it. Thank you for keeping Newsmakers alive for how many years now?
It is 17 years right now.
17 years. Well,
Amazing.
Kudos to you. Thank you for being my pundit. Appreciate the time.
My pleasure.
Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we'll be back just after this.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hey, Dad? Are you learning? This place is great. Huh? You gotta try this.
Wow, this stuff is great. People are gonna love it.
Yes. Yes, they will.
St. Ives Florist, for every holiday and every special occasion. For romance. Custom home design. We have the largest selection of fresh flowers in northern Nevada. And we also offer a large selection of unique gift items. Come see me, Lorianne, at St. Ives Florist, 700 South Wells Avenue, or call me at 333-9190.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Well, thank you for watching and listening. You can view us anytime at NevadaNewsmakers.com. Thanks for watching.